Hello and welcome to AI Repository. This is the first playlist of the channel dedicated to Python programming. It will cover Python from basics and take you to the intermediate level. The videos will be of 10 to 15 minutes, easy to understand with MCQs and hands-on questions for self-assessment. Today is the first video and this will cover the introduction to Python, its features and applications of Python programming language. Python is a high-level general-purpose programming language known for its simplicity, readability, and vast versatility. What is high-level programming language? Programming languages can be divided into 3 or 4 categories. There are certain places where it refers to 3, and nowadays we have 4 categories. The first one is low-level programming language or machine-level language, which contains zeros and ones and understandable by machines only. It is very difficult for humans to understand low-level language or machine-level language. Then we have something called as mid-level language, and then we have something called as high level language. Now these high level languages are very simple to understand because they have a syntax similar to the human understandable language, that is English, prominently. So that's why we call it Python is a high level programming language, means that the syntax of Python is very close to plain English syntax. It is general purpose. Why it is called general purpose? Because we can use Python programming to complete a lot of tasks or coding tasks actually. For example, if you want to do a database connectivity, how you can do that? You can use Python for that. If you want to do some kind of network work or network tasks, then also you can use Python. Need not to mention, but machine learning, deep learning, large language model, generative AI, the entire AI umbrella is using Python as the prominent programming language. So it is a general purpose programming language. It was created by Guido van Rossum and was first released in 1991, approximately 35 years back from today. Now, Python uses an English-like syntax that allows developers to write clean, logical code with fewer lines compared to languages like Java or C. To give you an example, I have written 2 codes in this slide. The code that is shown on the left hand side is from C programming, and on the right hand side we have used Python to write hello AI repository. You can see that if to write just hello world or just to print a statement, we need approximately 5 lines in C programming, whereas in Python programming we only need a single print statement if you want to print anything on the screen. Next is Python features. Why it is important? Because it is a very general question anybody can ask you, and you may be able to even tell these are the features. What differentiates it? Do you understand it really from the bottom? What does that mean? In this video we'll be listing the features, and then we will be understanding what that feature means and how that comes to the programming language. So Python is a Python has a readable syntax. Interpreted language, it is dynamically typed language, open source, it is object oriented programming language, it has a large standard library support, it also has a strong community support, and it is platform independent. We'll be talking about each one of the features in greater details now to understand why we are saying that Python is has a readable syntax. So Python has a readable syntax because the syntax mimics to the plain English, and many of us know English language. This helps us to understand, read, and remember the syntax of Python way more easily as compared to other programming languages. In this way, the developers can also concentrate on solving the problem rather than remembering the complex syntax of the programming. There are certain pillars or certain key distinctions of Python syntax as compared to the previous programming languages. We'll be talking about first one, that is mandatory indentation. Python uses white spaces to define block of codes rather than curly braces. Previous programming languages like C, you can see that in the first slide even, the C programming is using curly braces to define that these two lines are under this main function. Whereas in Python, you don't need to do that. You can just give white spaces and say that this particular lines belong to a specific block function or any loop, anything else, fine. In previous programming languages like C, you have to show the line break using semicolon. You can see that the printf statement is having a semicolon, return statement is having a semicolon. Whereas here in Python code, we need not to write a semicolon to mark the line breaks. Next thing is the keywords. Python uses keywords very similar to English words for punctuation symbols like and. This is logical and operator, this is logical or operator. In Python, what we can do is we can write directly and or not, something like that, rather than putting the symbols. Fine. This helps or makes Python more readable as compared to the previous programming languages. The second feature is interpreted language. In this slide, we'll be talking about two features of Python. First, interpreted language, and the second one is how Python is platform independent. To understand these two features, we have to first understand how Python executes the code. For the compilation process, Python uses two phases. First, compilation phase, and second one is the interpretation phase. Although Python is called as an interpreted language, it is actually a hybrid phase. The first phase, compilation, what happens here? Here, when we provide a .py source file, what is this .py source file? When you write a code, you save it, you write it in a text file, you save that file with certain extension. In previous programming languages like C, you use .c to save a C code file. Similarly, in Python, you use .py file to save the source code file. Suppose this is our source code file. Here I have defined a function name greet and I have provided certain parameters to it, fine, and it is printing out a statement. Now after I have saved it as .py, I'll be initiating the compilation phase. How? We'll be seeing that in upcoming videos. So when we'll do that, what happens is the compiler compiles this source code file and translates it. Now this translation, how does that take place? This translation generates a bytecode. The output of this process is a bytecode, and this bytecode looks something like this: load constant greet, load const code object, make function, something like that, fine. And this bytecode is platform independent. What does that mean? That means that I can generate this bytecode in a Windows operating system and then can transfer this file. The file, by the way, the file extension is .pyc, and I can transfer this .pyc file to an Ubuntu operating system and I can share this to the next phase, fine. So from here we get our second feature, that is Python is platform independent. The third feature is interpreted language. Now this interpreted language, what does that mean? Now this bytecode is transferred to Python virtual machine, and this Python virtual machine reads the bytecode line by line and translates or converts it into machine code. Now this binary machine code is given to the computer's CPU, that is central processing unit, and the execution of the code happens here. So it uses actually two phases. The second phase is interpretation phase. So it is a interpreted. Python's next feature is dynamically typed. Python is a dynamically typed language, means that you need not to declare the data type of the variable. You can directly write the name of the variable followed by any kind of assignment or operation that you want to perform. As compared to the previous programming languages, like if you think of C, you have to explicitly declare the data type of the variable followed by name, and then you can do any kind of assignment or any kind of other operations onto that variable. How does Python does this? So for that, its interpreter checks and enforces data type at the runtime rather than at the compilation step. The core characteristics of dynamically typed languages are: you need not to declare the data type of the variable, the binding happens at the runtime, and variable reassignment. What does that mean? That means a single variable name can freely change its type throughout the execution. The next feature is open source. Python is completely free and open source software to use. What does that mean and how it is helpful for us? That means that all the source files of Python are available online through internet, and you can access any portion of Python through internet. Fine. How does that help? Suppose I am working upon Python and I felt like I can update or modify certain portion of the code and it will work in a better way, maybe an optimized way or something. For that, I can get the code from the internet, I can modify that portion, and I can distribute the updated code online. And that code can be used for any purposes, even for commercial applications. This can be beneficial for the developers all around the globe. Coming to the next feature, Python is an object-oriented programming, although it supports multi-paradigm language. What are the different paradigms of a programming language? So we can have procedural programming, that is known as POPs. We can have functional programming styles. We have object-oriented programming styles. We'll be talking about the programming style object-oriented in a greater detail in upcoming videos. Python has a large standard library support. The library support means there are many pre-written codes available for many tasks. This is one of the primary and significant reasons that Python is used for AI coding. Anything that comes under AI umbrella, machine learning, deep learning, generative AI, anything, the primary and foremost language that is used for coding is Python. Python documentation has been provided and they have given the list of standard libraries they are supporting. You can go through any of these libraries as per your requirement, and you can study about the package or module in greater detail. Next is Python has a strong community support. What does that strong community support means? Strong community support means that there are many users out there who are using Python as their programming language. How does that help? Suppose I am working upon a task and I got stuck with some kind of error, all trying a lot of time, then too I was not able to debug it. Now I can put that particular error on the social media. Many people might be working upon similar kind of tasks and they might have found similar kind of errors or bugs. Few of them might have solved it. So those people can share their solutions to me and I'll get a better and faster solution or debugging to my problem. So Python has a strong community support and they themselves have mentioned in their documentation about this. You can go and read more about this from the documentation. The next is Python is a platform independent programming language. What does that mean? That means that you can run the Python code in any of the operating system. How this happens or how Python attains this feature? Through the two execution steps that we discussed. First is the compilation and the second one is Python virtual machine. The bytecode generated during the compilation process helps Python to attain platform independence. Coming to the second thing, this is for This is to understand the applications of Python programming. There are a wide range of areas or domains where Python can be used as the primary or secondary development language. The key areas are web development. You can develop websites or APIs using Python. I have already mentioned that Python is used for data science, machine learning, entire AI umbrella. You can even go for scientific computing. Automation can be done using Python. You can develop graphical user interface softwares using Python. Game developments can be done using Python. Internet of Things, smart devices you can build using Python. Cybersecurity tools can be implemented using Python. Cloud and DevOps can be done. People want to migrate their entire storage to cloud. That thing, maintaining the storage and other services on the cloud, there you can use Python. Robotics use Python. How? Because robotics uses many other domains. For example, it uses computer vision, which comes under AI, to make the robot visualize or see things. There you use Python. For any other kind of thing, for reinforcement learning that is used to train the robots, there also you can use Python. For now, we have discussed what is Python, what are the various features of Python and different applications of Python. In the next video module, we'll be talking about what are the different ways of using Python. Till then, thank you.